The TVS-BMW partnership is a love affair that keeps on giving. And the one you see here, the TVS Apache RTR 310, well, it is the latest to join the 310 family. Now, if you think this is just a rebadged G310R, well, you're mistaken. And if you think this is an RR310 without a fairing, well, then also you're mistaken, because this motorcycle brings a lot of new stuff to the table. Now, we are in Thailand today. We are going to be riding this motorcycle on the street and on the track. So let's find out if the latest member of the G310 family can live up to the hype. Let's first talk about the design. Now, unlike the BMW G310R, this looks like a completely different motorcycle. Of course, it's based on the same platform, the wheelbase is exactly the same, but in terms of styling, this is more Apache than G310R. So you can see the front end is quite beefy. It has got LED headlamps. It looks quite rakish. It is very sharp and it looks quite good. So yes, it has got that Street Fighter look. It looks more hunkered down compared to the G310, I have to say, and it has got that sporty thing going for it. Now you also get these nice dual tone color options. There's the yellow and matte, but you've also got a Shivank blue color option, which is 10,000 bucks extra, and that looks really fantastic. You've also got a red, you've also got a black as well. So overall, this motorcycle, of course, in terms of fit and finish, in terms of quality, in terms of how it looks, how it moves on the road, it definitely has that roadster look. Now the other thing is, even though the frame is the same as before, it is a steel trellis frame, but you'll notice the rear subframe is all aluminum, so it's lighter by around 1.2 kilograms, and it also gives the tail section a very sharp look as compared to the G310R. So from the back, it looks again more sporty. It looks very sharp. The tail lamp design is all new. Now, what hasn't changed is this exhaust, which is rather too big on this motorcycle, and I think it is an eyesore of sorts. But overall, that's the only, I'd say, a little disappointing bit about this motorcycle, because in the promos we saw a very sleek exhaust, but in reality this is quite big and it definitely stands out. So apart from the exhaust, I don't think there is anything wrong with the design of this motorcycle. So in that department, TVS has absolutely nailed it. Now, this motorcycle, as compared to the G310R, it feels a little hunkered down, in the sense there's not much that has changed in terms of the geometry of the motorcycle, but of course it feels a little more aggressive when you sit on it. The foot pegs are slightly more rear set as compared to the BMW. Now this, as a result, when you ride it, it feels more aggressive and it has a more sporty riding posture. But in terms of accessibility and practicality, I don't think there's any problem with this motorcycle, because it weighs around 5 kilograms less than the RR310, the fully fed version. So it's around 162 kilograms of weight, and I think relatively it is a light motorcycle. So on that front, you're absolutely covered. Now what I also like about the motorcycle is that it comes with adjustable levers, and you've also got this nice split seat setup. Now the other great thing about the seats is that they're heated and cooled. This is a segment first feature, and I have to say it works wonders. In terms of features and equipment, forget the G310 family. The RTR 310, well, it blows everything, all the competition out of the water in terms of what it's offering. Now, for example, it gets an all-new 5-inch TFT display. It is quite crisp to use, and you've got a lot of controls over here, so you can change it. But the party pieces that it packs a lot of new features. For example, it gets tire pressure monitoring system. You've got cornering ABS, you've got cornering cruise control, you've got a quick shifter, which everything can be accessed from here. Now, the other great thing about this motorcycle is, like I said, the cooled seat, they are also accessed from here. And the switchgear quality, everything is phenomenal. Now, this screen is also quite intuitive to use. It's not that difficult. So on the go also, you can really play through the menu and you can change settings on the move. So that is a great feature, because you're not distracted while riding this motorcycle. And then in terms of riding modes, it gets the same sort of modes as the RR310. That means you've got urban, you've got city, you've got track, you've got sport. So all those modes alter the throttle response, the power output on the motorcycle, with sport and track being the most aggressive. Now, on that note, let's talk about the performance. So the engine, it's exactly the same unit as before, but this one produces more power and more torque. So how's that done? Well, TVS has changed the internals in the sense it has got 5% lighter components, as in forged pistons. And the other thing is the subframe, of course, it's new, but it also allows for the fitment of a bigger airbox. And that means the volumetric efficiency has gone up. And overall, that results in a higher power output. In the sense, this produces around 1.5 bhp more and 1.4 Newton meters over the regular 310 powertrains that you see in different applications. Now, what's completely different on this motorcycle is the way this engine behaves. Now, first things first, TVS says that they wanted to give it that RTR character, so they didn't want the low end to be dull or subdued, and that shows when you ride this motorcycle, because the throttle response, even in city or normal mode, it is very snappy. It feels like a very eager motorcycle, and the throttle response is very crisp as well. So it's always raring to go in that sense as compared to a G310R or even the RR310 for that matter. But I think that is the defining aspect of this motorcycle, because it feels completely different in the sense how it behaves, the engine performance. And it's all about low and mid-range punch, because it feels like a hooligan. It doesn't feel like a G310. It doesn't feel like the BMW, because the BMW is a little subdued. It feels a little matured. But this is a hooligan at heart, and it always wants to go. Now, in different modes, the power characteristics are different, but in track and sport mode, it unleashes full fury, and that's when this motorcycle comes onto its own. So overall, I think it is a very fun motorcycle as compared to any other G310 or any other motorcycle for that matter. I think that's what I love about the engine. The other thing is, of course, it's not perfect. Being based on this platform, it has vibrations, and you'll notice the vibrations creeping in from as low as 5000 RPM. The gearing is also short, in the sense the gear ratios are exactly the same, but the final drive is shorter. So that means when you ride this motorcycle on the street or even on the track, it feels a little short geared, and you're always sort of out of revs. Even in 6th gear, you'd be doing 6000 RPM and 80 kilometers per hour. And I think that's the only problem with this motorcycle, because it feels out of depth when you're approaching triple-digit speeds. But that's it, it will hit a top speed of over 150 kilometers per hour, and I think in that sense it has a lot of performance. The only problem is, yes, there are a lot of vibrations. The RTR 310 is also equipped with a bi-directional quick shifter, and for the most part it worked flawlessly. We used it on the track and on the street, and the shifts were always positive and smooth. So from what I can tell, it is a nice addition to the overall riding experience. TVS is offering the RTR 310 with adjustable suspension, the fully adjustable unit that is offered with the RR 310 as well. But that's not standard, this is optional, of course. Now, the standard setup is the same as the G310R again, but today on this occasion we didn't get to ride the standard version. We are riding the one fitted with this fully adjustable version. This is the BTO version, so it's fully equipped with all the features and equipment that you can get on this motorcycle. Now, in terms of ride and handling, of course the suspension has been tuned differently for street usage and when we rode it on the track here, but on the road I felt it was quite supple, quite pliant, and it gave a lot of feedback, in the sense the front end, even when you're riding it in the city, has a lot of feel. It feels very agile, and if you are navigating through traffic, which we did today early morning in Bangkok, well, it is quite an effective handler in that respect. But when you are on the track, again, we ran a different setting for both compression and rebound. But again, on the track also, it is a very race bike sort of feeling that you get when you ride this motorcycle, because the suspension, like I said, is exactly the same. This platform, as we know, it is very sorted. It feels very planted going around corners. Mid-corner stability is phenomenal. And with this suspension, with this geometry, I think this motorcycle actually feels a little familiar, but that's not to say that it is boring or not exciting. It is a great motorcycle even if you are using it as a track tool. So handling, suspension, everything is very sorted but very familiar to what we've already seen with the G310R or the RR310. Now, if I have to be honest, when the teasers of this motorcycle started coming out, I thought this was just going to be a rebadged G310R. And I thought it was going to be a same sort of affair, because the G310R, it's been around for close to 8 years. So what would TVS do to make it different. Well, turns out I was wrong, because this motorcycle offers a completely different riding experience. This feels a lot snappier, this feels more fun, and this, because it has got adjustable suspension, is more fun to ride, and it feels more involving in every way. Plus, you've also got a lot of new features, a lot of segment-verse features. So I think in that respect also, this motorcycle, well, like I said, it is a complete package. Now, coming to the pricing, of course, it starts at around 2.43 lakh, but that's for the base version. It doesn't get all the electronics, it doesn't get adjustable suspension, it doesn't even get that bi-directional quick shifter. So yes, that is a sticker price, but if you want this fully loaded version, well, the pricing goes above 3 lakh rupees. And I think that is a slightly hefty price tag for this motorcycle. But when you look at the whole package, well, it is simply irresistible. And I think TVS deserves a pat on their back for making this motorcycle feel completely different to its BMW counterpart. I think for that reason alone, it deserves your attention.